Every week we seem to see video that appears to show questionable behavior by police. What's going on?
Well, I think you're seeing the fact that cameras are becoming ever-present in our lives, and you'll see those videos with increasing frequency going forward. Police make hundreds of thousands of arrests every year in America, and when people resist arrests, which is frequently the case, it's lawful, but it looks awful. Yeah. And in some instances, it's unlawful on the part of the police, some of the behavior that's caught on the cameras. So what you're seeing is really the expansion of the new phenomenon that cameras are literally everywhere.
So you don't think it's going on more, it's happening more, it's just the proliferation of cameras. More people have cameras to capture it.
That's correct. I think actually you're going to see over time that some of the aberrant behavior you're seeing, some of the behavior that's lawful, but just doesn't look good, that you're apt to see that decline over time as it becomes more of a reality that cameras are ever present in our lives. At the same time, the nature of policing in America is that we deal with a lot of violent people who oftentimes resist arrests, violent people who without provocation attack police and attack others. There is such a thing as crime in America, and that's not going away anytime soon.
Yeah. Isn't stop and frisk part of every police department?
That's correct. That stop, question, frisk is one of the basic tools. Stop and question, and then potentially frisk. The vast majority of stops don't result in a frisk. But it's been constitutionally described. Terry versus Ohio, 1968. One of the first courses I took as a police officer in 1970, the Boston Police Academy, were the new directions that came out of that Supreme Court decision. The idea that you had to have reasonable suspicion to stop a person, and that reasonable suspicion was that a crime is, or is about to be committed. And you have to be able to articulate what the reasonable suspicion is. So that there's a real misunderstanding, I think, maybe not just in New York, but in other cities around the country, that somehow or another stop, question, frisk is illegal, or that, using your term, it's been suspended. Not at all. It's a basic tool of American policing. It's a basic right, if you will, of every police officer within the Constitution to respond to a reasonable suspicion.
Do you think that people of color, especially men of color, black men, are targeted by police? I
don't think so. Police go where the calls are. In the city, the vast majority of our calls to 911, emergency calls, 311, nuisance calls, quality of life calls. The vast majority of those calls are in neighborhoods where, unfortunately, we have higher rates of crime than in other neighborhoods. That's a reality, and that's a reality in most of America. Another reality is that those neighborhoods oftentimes are minority neighborhoods, black neighborhoods, Hispanic neighborhoods. And so the chance of police encountering individuals is more significant because we have more police in those areas. You'd expect we'd have more police where there is more crime, where there's more disorder, where there's more need. That so much of what we engage in police activities is in response to people calling. We need you. We need your help. Come assist.
Yeah. Where does a mistrust come from? Surely that is not all of it is just perception, because you have to admit that there's a disconnect between communities of color and police officers.
Mistrust, I think, some of it is based on the history of our country, the legacy, if you will, of particularly as it relates to blacks, African Americans, the history of slavery, and the use of police through much of our history to in effect, enforce slavery laws, and on up until the 1960s with the civil rights laws enforcing segregation laws. So a fear of police, a mistrust of blacks by police, a lot of that is historically based, and the challenge going forward, the shared responsibility, if you will, and this is a shared responsibility. It's not up to the police to solve it. It's not up to the community to solve it. It's a shared responsibility. Understanding of what the rights and responsibilities of police are, and police understanding what the rights and responsibilities of the public, and a mutual respect, if you will. Not going to be easy. There's a lot of history, and there's a lot of pain that this country has been through, And unfortunately, more we're going to go through. That we thought we had healed this issue coming out of the 60s, and quite clearly, within the last year or two, the scab that we thought had healed over has been peeled back, and that wound is still open and quite raw.
How do we fix it? You mentioned, you said it's going to have to, it's a mutual responsibility, but specifically, how do we fix it? And what is the NYPD doing?
In New York City, we're making major efforts and have been making major efforts I can speak to over these last 16 months I've been police commissioner to see each other. We have a major training program underway for our 20,000 officers who work in the field, a 3-day training program to really teach them how to see the communities that they work in, how to respect those communities, how to engage in dialogue with them, how to use force in appropriate ways. And that's not just a one-time initiative. We'll continue that going forward each year.
The Federal Monitor overseeing reforms in the department talks about and wants to create the sort of reforms that you're talking about, where they tell the new class of recruits, the current class of NYPD recruits, including the instructions like this: don't be a racist, don't mock others, don't tell sexist jokes, don't hassle people for any reason, or don't hassle people for no reason. What do you think of that?
I think that's great. That's something that we're teaching our officers. What's wrong with that?
Already, but you said you already implemented.
We were already implemented. All the monitor was doing was basically reporting on it back to the court and indicating he approved of that training. This is stuff we've been doing now for a long time with our recruit classes. I know one of the local newspapers here belittled it yesterday, and shame on them. Shame on them that in terms of the comments they used in belittling that training. You want your officers to engage with people, to treat them with respect, and to belittle training in which we are trying to improve the civility of the engagement between police and the public. Shame on them.
Almost everything that I do, probably that you do, is picked up by a camera somewhere, right?
Mm-hmm. That's correct.
So body cameras, and I know you're implementing, I think you have like 60 officers who are wearing body cameras.
We have a pilot program that has been underway now for about 3 months. That will be expanding over time as part of the federal monitorship. But even in the absence of that monitorship, we would have been expanding it. Body cameras are going to become as basic a piece of equipment as the two-way radio, as the firearm that officers carry. Much the same as cameras in our lives. Every convenience store in New York has half a dozen of them. We have 8,000 cameras on the streets of New York, and we're going to grow that number significantly.
So you're a big proponent, because I don't think officers, from my estimation, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know if they really like having that camera on.
Oh, I think once they see that they are the ultimate beneficiaries of it, because in most places that have put body cameras in place, dashboard cameras, that the principal beneficiary are the police. Because, believe it or not, people lie. People make up stories. People don't sometimes understand the authority of the police. And when they see themselves on camera, it looks a little different sometimes in the allegations they're making. I've seen, and one of the reasons I'm such a strong supporter of cameras, it changes the behavior, not just of the police, which I think is the sense that, oh, somehow or another, cameras are going to change the behavior of the police. The big behavior that changes is the behavior of the public. Because when they understand they're being recorded, it tends to tone them down. Much the same as the expectation that it's going to change the behavior of the police officer, knowing that a camera is on him. And so everybody benefits there. Police behavior improves and public behavior improves.
So you're saying, you just said we're going to see it around the country, and you think that every police department should have.
Oh, that's the wave of the future. It's going to be a basic piece of police equipment.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Okay. Good to be with you.